Elizabeth Delancey, a citizen of Marina. Tomorrow, a final vote will be taken on Cemex Sand Mining, but I'm here to remind you that the CalAm Sand Well project on the Cemex property presents a greater impact and threat to our community and the environment. How do we replace one terrible industrial use of sand mining for an even larger for-profit industry desalination enterprise on the same property? Cemex took our free sand for profit, and if you allow it, CalAm will take our free water on the same property for a huge profit. The Coastal Commission approved the test slant well when the city of Marina voted it down. Hopefully, you will see what a deception this project really is and how incredibly flawed it is, and apply more scrutiny with higher standards to protect our land and to keep all for open space and conservation. Thank you, and I hope you will keep this in mind. We like to have our property open space. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Burnett. I live in Marina, California. CalAm has publicly stated that their slant well project is designed to take supply water from the ocean via underground slant wells that draw water from the earth underneath the ocean. The CalAm slant well project is not a subsurface ocean intake project as they have promoted to the Coastal Commission, environmental groups, and the public. The slant wells will absolutely be in the 180-foot groundwater aquifer, the sole source of water for Marina, the Ord communities, and much of the Salinas groundwater basin. CalAm has, through misinformation and distortion of data, clouded this critical fact. Further, CalAm's assertion that this area of critical 180-foot aquifer contains mostly unusable brackish water is not true. Brackish water is usable and valuable in a desalination process because, by definition, it contains a portion of fresh water. It is much cheaper to do desalination from brackish water rather than from 100% salt water. The real reason the MPWSP, Monterey Peninsula Water Supply Project, was sited in Marina and not closer to CalAm's service area. Additionally, CalAm does not have an accurate baseline for the Salinas Valley groundwater basin, as they have omitted a vital, perched, fresh layer of water in their modeling due to significant limitations on how they gather their baseline data. Please, do not be swayed by the deceptive language, flawed analysis, and misinformation put forth in the CalAm Slant Well project. Please challenge the most fundamental flaw of the MPWSP as not being a subsurface ocean intake project. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Biala, and I'm a resident of Marina. Although the Coastal Commission approved the CalAm test slant well for the Monterey Peninsula Water Supply Project over the vote against it by the Marina City Council, there are now serious and numerous questions regarding the adequacy of the scientific methodology applied and the validity of test results. There is a much more accurate method of mapping the subsurface features of saltwater intrusion and the aquifer systems. One method is called electrical resistivity tomography, or ERT, and now has advanced to a second generation technique called AEM, airborne electromagnetic imaging. But neither of these methods were used by CalAm in obtaining a baseline for groundwater modeling. Instead, they have used sample testing from random wells in a limited area, whereas AEM can produce 3D images over large expanses of land and to much greater depths. It is inexcusable that CalAm failed to take advantage of these available and affordable scientific methodologies that would likely have produced game-changing data for the draft EIR. In 2015, an ERT study by Stanford professor Dr. Rosemary Knight was made along the vast majority of the Monterey Bay shoreline, but the very proposed site for CalAm's slant well was notably absent. 2 months ago, the Marina Coast Water District completed an AEM study of large areas of the Salinas Valley groundwater basin. This data is already being analyzed as we speak. Preliminary data confirms the existence of a perched freshwater aquifer. This means that the MPWSP modeling did not include this vital information and that CalAm's desalination slant wells are not only not a subsurface ocean intake, and it is drawing from our 180-foot aquifer, but it will also be drawing from a freshwater aquifer. In the DEIR, CalAm claims no harm to our groundwater basin. In order to determine the feasibility of the CalAm project, the Coastal Commission must receive this new AEM data. My question to you is, how will you receive and process such new and critical information? Thank you for your kind attention.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. I'm here with Mike Dinkel, and we are for Citizens for Just Water. I'd like to speak about the critically overdrafted aquifers. CalAm has no water rights in the Salinas Valley groundwater basin, but they intend to pump water to the tune of 24.1 million gallons a day from our basin to provide water to their peninsula customers. Our water district already has serious concerns of the adequacy of its aquifers to meet our own current and future water needs. Our basin has already been identified by the Department of Water Resources as one of the 21 critically overdrafted basins in California. There is no surplus of water. The Sustainable Groundwater Management Act of 2014 mandates that there be a restoration to previous conditions of groundwater basins as was present in 2014. The CalAm Slant Well project essentially poses an impossibility to comply with the SGMA by irresponsible overdrafting. CalAm's history of overdrafting and draining water resources in its own water rights jurisdiction, for example, Carmel River and the Seaside Basin, demonstrates a complete lack of sustainable water planning on the part of CalAm. Do not allow CalAm to seek appeals or support from the California Coastal Commission for this enormously flawed project. CalAm must find or develop solutions that will not endanger others' water resources. Thank you.
My name is Audra Walton. I'm a citizen of Marina, and with Citizens for Just Water. I read this brief little statement and, ooh, I even got louder. Is this even better? We're past it. The originally promoted slant well project was touted to be environmentally preferable to any direct action intake desalination project because it would be pumping water from the filtered ocean subsurface. A great idea, conceptually. The California Coastal Commission and the public were sold this idea. So how is it that an EIR is completed for a current project that is not a subsurface ocean intake at all? The impact upon our precious The impact upon our precious Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary is now more susceptible to negative impacts than it might have been had it been truly an intake from under the seabed. The Coastal Commission has the responsibility to monitor the environmental impacts of this project, and this has been a critical deception. Under such conditions of the CalAm Slant Well project now directly pulling both aquifer water and unfiltered ocean water, serious scrutiny must be applied with recirculation of the DEIR. The DEIR must be recirculated to now focus upon what a project that is not under the ocean bed will do to the marine wildlife and dune habitats in the ecosystem. Thank you.
Carol Roberts, residents of Marina, also Citizens for Just Water. I'm going to discuss the environmental impact of the CalAm project. The whole concept of an ecosystem appears to be lost on CalAm and the Slant Well project's DEIR/EIS review. These are only a few quotes from the City of Marina response to the DEIR, Chapter 4.5, Ecosystem Impacts, that will exemplify the major problem. Quote, Given the project's undeniable significant impact on the water quality and marine resources in the area near the discharge, documentation of the environmental baseline in this area is particularly critical. Yet, the draft EIR/EIS merely contains a general, minimal description of the ecosystem in the area. Quote, the draft EIR/EIS states that analysis of impacts on plankton near the outfall is based on sampling of small zooplankton conducted one day in spring 2016. This sampling is wholly insufficient. Quote, although the draft EIR/EIS admits the project will have adverse impacts to squid, which the draft EIR/EIS wrongly describes as less than significant, the draft EIR/EIS fails to sufficiently consider and analyze impacts to other species in the same area. As an editorial comment, isn't this the essence of an ecosystem? That is, a matter of a food chain? Last quote. The project proposes to locate several project components in areas classified as primary and secondary habitat, in which rare, endangered, threatened species exist, including the western snowy plover, I might add. But the study area must be large enough to enable an accurate assessment of the environmental baseline. A 50-foot buffer is undoubtedly insufficient. If this CalAmp slant well comes before you for any approvals, please support the city of Marina's perspective. We have only 4 miles of shoreline, and this project will compromise a quarter of that. Please protect our national marine sanctuary and the wildlife habits both in the ocean and on our dunes. Thank you.
Yes, Julie Hoffman, Marina resident, also with Citizens for Just Water. Welcome to Marina, by the way. I'm here to make a few comments about the Monterey Regional Water Supply Project, DEIR, that the California Coastal Commission is reviewing currently. Now, I do understand that the consideration by the Coastal Commission regards impacts to ecosystem and coastal habitats for wildlife, such as the snowy plover that live on and around the Cemex property in Marina, and not about social injustice. What is important to the Coastal Commission is that this project minimize impacts to marine life and the Monterey Bay. CalAmp says that the patented slant well technology will use subsurface ocean intake and filter out sea life using the seabed's sands. But curiously, there is no such slant well desalination system currently producing water that can provide historical operation and data on impacts to sea life or prove that it even works well at all. It all just sounds really good on paper. This constitutes engineering hubris to present a costly beta test when a solid and reliable solution is demanded. Recently, the California Coastal Commission rejected a Humboldt Bay oyster farm bid to expand its operations. The primary reasons given by Commissioner Mary Schallenberger to reject the project were way too big, too many unknowns, and too big of a large-scale field experiment. In the same way, this regional water solution that only serves the wealthier peninsula is oversized, untested, misleading groundwater sucking project that usurps another water district's jurisdictional water rights. In fact, this project is a risky beta test in Marina's groundwater and unjustly impacts the citizens of Marina in their native habitat. Your closer scrutiny of the CalAmp DEIR is required to reveal that the many inconsistencies, obfuscations, and omissions of impacts that have been presented for your review. I urge you to look past the heady promises of new technology and reject approval of this project, the snowy plovers, and the human macroorganisms of Marina.